I'm Warren Berkeley with the Laurel Heights Church of Christ. In our continuing studies in the Sermon on the Mount, we arrive in this class at Matthew chapter 7, verses 1 through 6. Judge not that you be not judged, for with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how do you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when there is a log in your own eye? You hypocrite. First, take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you. Here is a good way to remember what's happening in Matthew 7, verses 1 through 6. I think it is good to remember that Jesus is raising the bar. Let me explain. The prevailing religion when Jesus spoke these words was the Jewish religion, as it was dominated by the scribes and Pharisees. And there was a lot of hypocrisy among the scribes and Pharisees, individually, and I think I would say systematically. And that hypocrisy sometimes expressed itself in boastful arrogance, with judging and quick condemning of others. That was, number one, without mercy, and number two, offered in spite of one's own greater deficiencies or sins. And that can be called hypocritical judging. You speak against people and condemn people and spend an inordinate amount of time pointing out their sin, ignoring your own guilt. Let's call that hypocritical judging. Quick and easy to see sin in others, but blind and unresponsive to your own sin. That's what Jesus speaks to here. He is not talking about our sincere efforts to tell people the truth about their condition before God, to tell them about their sin, and to use the Word of God to try and help them out of their sin, to be forgiven and have fellowship with God. Jesus would never prohibit that. Jesus is not telling us to never tell anyone they are wrong about anything. He is not saying we must remain silent about sin and error. Jesus is raising the bar above the prevailing religion of the day, exposing hypocritical judging that was typical in that day, laced with evidence of immaturity and pride on the part of these men. Childish remarks were no doubt heard. I'm better than you. I'm better than he. You are not as good as me. Look at all your horrible sin. Jesus wants to make it clear in his kingdom, his citizens are not to be involved in hypocritical judgment. Sometimes self-righteous people are very quick and very loud in condemning others for their sins. They think they see clearly in others. Yet the self-righteous, arrogant judges are guilty of sins, Jesus said, even greater, the log. It is true, all sins are to be avoided. But Jesus makes a distinction here between the speck and the log. Here is a case where the self-righteous, arrogant judge condemns the sinner who has the speck in his eye, while the one doing the judging cannot really see well because of his log in his eye. Do you see? This doesn't forbid us speaking to people about their sin, urging them to move out of sin through the gospel to God. This forbids the hypocritical spectacle of condemning in others their transgressions that you have quickly discovered while giving no attention to your own greater sins. It is judging that is without mercy, and that is not accompanied by a thorough self-examination. And the remedy here is not to never make or express any judgment about anything to anybody. The remedy is, well, just listen to Jesus here. The remedy is, that's not the slide I want to go back to that one. The remedy is in verse 5, first, take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. If your brother has a speck in his eye, by all means, help him get that speck out. But first, to be well equipped for the task, get the log from your own eye. It is hypocritical judging that's under consideration. Do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you. To the Jewish mind, in their culture, there was nothing as unclean as dogs or pigs. They didn't give the best food they had to those animals, if they fed them at all. As the next paragraph implies, parents gave their best food to their children. And there was the thought that if you feed wild animals, you will strengthen them to attack you. For these reasons, the Jews didn't have unclean dogs or pigs for pets, didn't feed them, didn't eat them, and generally stayed away from them. Application here. In all our efforts to help people, even when we do it right, there is a righteous caution we ought to maintain. We have something valuable, the truth. When it's evident, the truth is not appreciated. That truth is not wanted. When your efforts may be used by an enemy to attack you, be willing to step away. Deal with people sensibly. Pray about all this. Don't let this passage become an excuse to stop trying to teach someone, but this verse is about the futility of trying to offer something of great value to someone who not only does not want it, but they will waste your time, they may attack you, and hinder your good work otherwise. It is pointless to try and teach swine to appreciate fine food and pearls. Dogs are not discriminating consumers of food generally, unless you have been training and domesticating your dogs to be finicky eaters. Once it is clear to us that we're trying to press the gospel into a closed heart or an indifferent listener, there comes a time when, according to Matthew 10, we need to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. I'd like for you to listen again to our passage before we close. Matthew 7, 1 through 6. Judge not that you be not judged. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when there is a log in your own eye, you hypocrite? First, Take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you. Next time, we'll continue in Matthew 7, verses 7 through 11. We are the Laurel Heights Church of Christ in McAllen, Texas. Thank you for being with us.